Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the largest gated community in North America, spanning 26,000 acres in the Ouachita Mountains in south central Arkansas. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and some occasional guests as we explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. McGraw Realtors, located in the heart of Hot Springs Village, is the fastest growing real estate office with over 30 agents and staff. Executive brokers Lori and Ken Henderson, along with realtor and waterfront specialist Rick Marshall, they're eager to share the special features of Hot Springs Village with you. For a complimentary relocation packet, call Ken and Lori at 501-276-3018 or call Rick Marshall at 501-601-RICK. They are McGraw Realtors of Hot Springs Village. Renaissance Homes builds spec homes ready for sale and custom homes. Brandon Tedder and his team make the process easy. Renaissance Homes incorporates solid construction methods from the ground up. Brandon is a certified green builder. With a fixed price approach, detailed spec sheet, you'll know upfront how much it will cost. Every job has a dedicated project manager and an in-house design expert. From permitting to landscaping, Renaissance Homes is the preferred builder headquartered right here inside Hot Springs Village. Welcome back to Hot Springs Village Inside Out. This is a show starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, and we are not here to convert you to come to Hot Springs Village, but we do want to try to persuade you to come and visit and consider Hot Springs Village as your retirement destination. I want to dive into something a little bit different today, something that I'm hearing about more frequently than I would have anticipated, and that is regret. Specifically, the regrets that sometimes retirees have in moving to a new location. It's super common for us to leave a place where we've been, maybe the place where we raised our family. There's a variety of situations and stories that I hear every single week, and it just makes me realize the diversity of our circumstances and our situations, and yet there's still a ton of things that we all have in common at this stage of our life. A number of people who raise their kids in a certain place, the kids have married, grown up, moved away. Some may be scattered, some may be in the general vicinity where we are. And now it's like, okay, well, where are we going to go? Do we want to stay here? As grandparents, it's really common for us to understand that we kind of slide down the scale of importance with grandkids at various times of our life. You know, when the grandkids, for me and Rhonda, when the grandkids were little, we were probably a little more vital in their lives at the time. And then as they probably hit their teen years, it subsides. You kind of fall off the importance scale somewhat, which is fine. It's the natural order of things, so I'm not complaining. It just kind of is what it is. And then things appear to be where they may kind of turn back around. You know, you kind of, as the kids grow older, the grandparents can then kind of resume a little more important role, but just a different role. You know, when the grandbabies are babies, most grandmothers and even grandfathers really want to be around the little kids as much as possible. We certainly did. And so I'm discovering that there are people who move away and sometimes they regret, well, we left too soon. They may regret, well, we didn't leave far enough. So let's talk about some of the reasons, and I'm just going to mention 7, but there could be a vast array of these. The regrets that retirees have after moving to a new place. The first is we didn't visit enough. I've heard from a number of folks who now watch the show and are considering Hot Springs Village as their next retirement destination, who left home and moved to some place in the country, fell in love with it because, well, they were vacationing there, or maybe they had vacationed there a number of times. Yeah, but vacationing in a place and then daily living in a place, those aren't the same thing. And now they express to me that they wish they would have visited enough. And by visiting enough, I don't mean more trips necessarily, but they wish they would have lengthened their stay in these places, especially if it's a vacation kind of a place or a touristy kind of a place. Many people say, we wish we would have visited more in the off season. We should have come and seen the place when it wasn't just this buzz of activity during the tourist season. So not visiting enough or not visiting long enough before moving is a regret. The second one is people underestimated how much they might miss their friends and their family. The emotional distance, it can take a toll on people. I think staying connected back with family, staying connected to friends that maybe you've had for a long, long period of time can be a real difficult thing for many people. Some people have told me, thanks to FaceTime technology and other things, they're able to kind of stay connected. But the ones that kind of lessened the regret were people that developed some kind of a plan to stay connected. But many, many people report it's hard. It's hard when you move miles and miles and miles and miles away from old friends and from family. You think you'll stay connected. It's kind of like schoolmates. We were close to people in school and figured, we're going to be close to these people the rest of our lives. And no, it doesn't work out that way. It just doesn't work out that way. How much you will miss friends and family, is something that, we probably need to wrestle with that a little bit more. Rhonda and I, when we started spending some time over here, when we bought the house over here and we knew we were going to split our time, we were thinking, we were thinking about the frequency of the trips, and the frequency was largely based on my business, but and my business here in Hot Springs Village as well, which is where I'm at right now, by the way. Welcome to the back porch. But frankly, for us, we probably over-amplified it, meaning we probably thought, we need to be back around the grandkids, and this is going to sound awful, but I'm going to say it anyway. Be around the family, be around other people more frequently than it turns out. We really, we really settled on, okay, we overestimated that. And I don't think we overestimated it on our part. We overestimated it perhaps on the part of other people. This is what makes this one so complicated, to figure out, okay, how much are we going to miss friends and family? How much do we want to be involved in their lives? And this is strictly anecdotal, and this is just our experience. Rhonda and I both, as parents and as grandparents, do not want to intrude. The last thing we want is to intrude. Now, I know there are many of you that's not how you roll. Intruding is just not a problem for you. It's a real problem for us. And so it's just easier for us. It's easier for us to maybe miss them a little more, if that makes sense, than might even be completely comfortable. Because listen, I can be around them a lot, but I don't know that they need to be around me that much. So I don't want this to be a one-sided affair. At any rate, it's something to think about, how much you're going to miss your friends and your family. The third one is pretty interesting to me. People talk about how they really got focused on the house and they really didn't focus that much on the community. This one took me by surprise. I was not at all expecting this one, and I should have given it some thought. There are people who, and most of this feedback, by the way, is coming from people who are not in the village, who haven't come to Hot Springs Village, but they're thinking about Hot Springs Village as their first retirement location or their second, maybe even third retirement location. But the conversations that I'm having with people who report that they really got focused on the house, because come on, at this stage of life, I think more often than not, if we can pull this off financially, you'd kind of like to have your dream house. Talk to people all the time, and they take a look at the price of real estate over here in Hot Springs Village, and they're like, hey Martha, we might could afford a lakefront house. We might could afford, for the first time in our life ever, to live on a lake. Or we might be able, for the first time ever, to live on a golf course. Something that just wasn't really in the cards as they were bringing up their family. And so they go all in on this dream home, only to figure out it kind of feels isolated. We kind of feel isolated. The interesting thing about this, well, there's a bunch of interesting things to me about this, isn't that the house brought the isolation. It's just that they were overly focused just on the house. They weren't focused on necessarily the community dynamics of where the house is located. They weren't focused on the neighborhood. They may have been focused on the square footage. They may have been focused on the luxury. They may have been focused on how nice the master bathroom was. They may have been focused on the kitchen. They may have been focused on, the back deck or the front porch. And they weren't thinking about the things outside the scope of their place. I can speak with a little bit of expertise on this. So Rhonda and I, when we discovered this house, we had never been in this neighborhood at all. I didn't even know this neighborhood existed. And we're looking on a map, we're looking at Google Earth and stuff, and we're trying to figure this out. And we see where it's located, and it turns out, fairly attractive. And we moved here, and we did talk about this. We talked about, being in a neighborhood, having a neighbor next door, empty lot behind us, empty lot over here, empty lots in front of us, but a neighbor directly next door, and houses up and down the street. Just houses up and down the street. Now, there are neighborhoods much like this all over the village. There are also neighborhoods in the village where you can go down a street and there's a house, and you go for a distance before you get to another house. Those are possible. There's lake communities, which is where we are. One street over is the lake. We're in the Lake Coronado area. I never lived in a lake community before. I would consider this a lake community. I'm not on the waterfront. Golf. You can be on the golf course, but you could also be just a stone's throw from the golf course. And that's a bit of a golf community. We did give some consideration to a neighborhood, and we were particularly thinking about our propensity to just go out and walk. And it feels kind of good. It just feels kind of good. And for people that split their time between here and Texas, having neighbors is a really good thing. It's a super, I don't know that they're tickled about it, mind you. You know, when I'll call a neighbor, Jackie, and I'll say, hey, I got this package coming. It wasn't supposed to be there today, and you know, she's over here stepping and fetching for me. So too much focus on the house, not enough focus on the community, and as a result, you get in this house and it's like, man, it's our dream house, but it feels kind of isolated and we feel kind of lonely because we didn't think enough about the community around the house. Food for thought. Number 4, didn't consider medical access enough. This one does come up, and for some of you, this very well may be, it may be a deal breaker for Hot Springs Village, and I get it. Health surprises happen, and some of us have got kind of some chronic health challenges, and we need specialists, and we need those specialists to be pretty close by. We may need facilities to be pretty close by, and we don't just need to have, you know, some little urgent care, you know, doc in a box kind of a thing, but we really need more specialized providers, and we would like for them to be close at hand. Not going to have that here in Hot Springs Village. I'm not saying that it's impossible. Depends on your circumstances, you know, and your health conditions, but you're going to have to drive, more likely than not, you're going to have to drive to Hot Springs. Depending on where in the village you live, that could be 30 minutes away, that could be an hour away. Or you're going to have to go to Little Rock. And again, depending, that's going to be 45 minutes away, that's going to be an hour plus away. And if that's problematic, better to know that before you make the investment and before you make the move. So that's number 4. We didn't consider the medical access good enough. That's a regret. Number 5, we didn't understand the culture. We didn't understand the pace of life at this place. Here, we just talk about it over and over again. Peace and quiet. And peace and quiet is what you get here. And so if you want hustle, bustle, if you want thriving stuff, if you want a lot of pedestrian shopping, think, you know, we just want to get out, we want to walk, and we want to go from shop to shop to shop to shop. You're not going to have that here. You're just not going to have that here. And if that is kind of the sweet spot for where you're happy, then I would encourage you need to choose a place that has whatever kind of energy, whatever lifestyle, whatever kind of ideal habits that you would like to persist in. But people report to me the culture and the pace of life in various places that understandably was different than home, and they wanted it, but then they got there and it's like, we didn't want this much of it. Number 6, this is a big one, and it probably deserves to be, I didn't put these in any order, these are random. I should have put this one a little higher. We didn't budget realistically. I do hear rather repeatedly, I do hear horror stories of HOA fees. And these were not so much, I don't hear so much about hidden cost. I hear about people who retired, say 4 or 5 years ago, to a place, bought a house, and the HOA fees were a certain number. And now here, 4 years later, the HOA fees are 3 times as much. And their income, their investment income, their retirement income, well, that hasn't tripled. And so now they find themselves with an overhead that they really didn't anticipate, and it's put a strain on them. It's put a financial strain on them. So we don't want that to happen. Now, there's no guarantees about any of this. There's no guarantees that cost of living in any particular place is just going to stay. I think the best thing to do is to talk to residents. The best thing to do is stay tuned to this show. I've been real candid to share cost with you. You need to get a true picture of cost, and you need to get a real true picture of your cost and your income. The value here is, while this is a property owners association, tantamount to an HOA, the Property Owners Association does not have the right, based on the governing documents, to just double the assessment. The current assessment of $113.19 was voted on by the Property Owners Association a couple of years ago. It took an increase, which was the first in a long time, and then it took a second increase, which is where we're at today. That second increase being $113.19. And any increases from here, they'll go again to a vote. So that's a good thing. Here, what I'm typically hearing is homeowners insurance. And we're hearing this all over the country. Homeowners insurance is a challenge for insurance companies. Well, number one, I don't know that it's profitable, which is why you hear so much about bundling your auto insurance and your homeowner's insurance to try to help, strengthen that profit margin for these insurance companies. But in some parts of the world, some parts of the country, I'm thinking of Florida, even some places, up the eastern seaboard, where hurricane damage has been significant in the past couple of years. Here in this part of the country, tornadoes. Out west, you've got wildfires, you've got earthquakes, you've got, you've pretty much got something anywhere, whether it's flooding, all kinds of things. Here in Tornado Alley, hailstorms damage roofs, and replacing a roof on a house is not an inexpensive endeavor. And so homeowners insurance just continues, I started to say to creep up, but that's not even accurate. It tends to really go up, and depending on the value of the house, the size of the house, and the age of the house, and the age of the roof on the house, homeowners insurance, it's a thing. It's a thing. How do we budget for that in the future? I don't know, but we've got to figure it out. We've got to figure it out. For me to think that my homeowner's insurance that I'm paying right now, which is affordable, but again, I'm in a newer, smaller home. It was brand new. But over time, for me to think that my rate isn't going to go up, well, that's just naive. So we do have to think about not just that cost, but we have to think about other costs and how they're going to go up and how we're going to account for that. And hopefully we find a place, and I believe Hot Springs Village is such a place where as those costs go up, I just don't see those costs going up exponentially. I see them going up way more incrementally. Does that mean that I could never foresee a time where I'd be priced out of being in Hot Springs Village. I'm not saying that, although, yeah, I don't see it, because I just know the cost of living that I came from, where I still, frankly, reside in Texas. It's just so dramatically different. So dramatically different. Number 7, and I struggled with how to even categorize this one. You know, we thought we'd leave this place and we'd go to that place, and it would just kind of fix things, if that makes sense. I'll fictionalize these stories to protect the guilty. You know, a new zip code is not going to solve all your problems. Whether you're having marriage problems or family problems or financial problems, just relocating is not going to make those go away. And I know that a lot of people do this. I know a lot of people try this, because I also know enough about human nature to know that many people, hiding is just easier than facing whatever the problem might be. I'm really struck by the vulnerability, and I greatly appreciate it and respect it. It's why I'm pretty good at what I do professionally as a coach. Judgment is easy, compassion's hard. It's not for me. Not judging somebody's circumstance or situation just isn't that difficult for me, because I understand we're all fighting something. We've all got issues. We've all got things. We've all got worries and concerns. And I completely understand what it is to just want to stay in bed and pull the covers up over your head, or to convince yourself, if we just got away from here, if we just get away from here and we go somewhere else. Here's what life has taught me. Happiness is a choice and misery is a choice. And you get to choose. Are there people in Hot Springs Village who are miserable? There are. There are. And unfortunately, all 5 of them are on social media. The rest of us are, pretty happy, pretty content. Is every day blissful? Is every day glorious? It should be. It should be. It's a gift from God. And it's a pretty glorious place to be sitting out here, watching these hummingbirds dive bomb down toward this nectar feeder that I've got, and watching the blue jays all get over here and hover around one another. Random squirrel every now and again. Yeah, it's pretty glorious. Is every day happy? Is every day perfect? It's not. It's not. And coming here is not going to make it that way. And if your happy place is someplace completely different than here, newsflash, the place isn't going to fix all of your problems. And I'm not speaking from personal experience. I'm speaking from people who are confiding in me as they look to Hot Springs Village and they look at where they're at now and they say, we left and we really thought, okay, this will fix some problems, and we've discovered it doesn't. It doesn't. So I guess my best advice on that move would be get real clear. Just get real clear, and don't move out of desperation when it comes to thinking that a new location, a new change of scenery, boy, that'll fix it all. Here in Hot Springs Village, I've met people all across the spectrum. The majority of people that I run into still say it's the best decision they ever made, and most say we wish we would have found it sooner, or we wish we would have come over sooner. It's also a regret that I hear increasingly from people, and that I regret that I didn't retire sooner. I should have retired a few years earlier than I retired. That one also kind of amazes me. And when I probe and I ask, well, why did you wait? The majority of people waited because they feared that they didn't quite have enough money yet. And now that they're a few years into it, I'll ask. I had a conversation just the other day, and we were talking about it. We weren't dealing in hard numbers. I wasn't being that personal in the conversation, but I asked, well, so did it make a difference? You hung on 3 years to a career that you frankly wish you would have left 4 years ago. And didn't make that much difference. Didn't make that. In my head, guy said, in my head it made a difference. I said, well, then was it worth the security? I mean, just whatever emotional security you had. I mean, was it worth that? And he said, in retrospect, no, I don't think so. I'm taking notes here. I'm taking notes here. The happiest residents here, I think, are people who took their time, people who did some homework, people who really, they asked the hard questions. They didn't just pack up and move over here on a lark. Many of them have stories much like mine. Serendipity kind of happened. I hear over and over people that came and they fell in love with a house and made a run at it, didn't work out. And some time went by and another house showed up. And guess what? They loved that house more than they loved that first house. But it also gave them time to kind of figure some things out. So as I think about all the people that I interact with in any given week here, up to and including some people who rent, come over here and, I know some folks who said, yeah, we found a house that we could rent for 6 months because we thought, we're not going to do anything until we can do that. Okay, well, I would call those people the super preparers. And did most of us do that? I don't know that many of us that did that, but I applaud it. I salute it. I think it's a great thing to do. And there are a lot of houses that you could do kind of a midterm rental over here. And I think that speaks to that first regret of, we moved to a place and we'd vacation there, but vacationing there and living there, that ain't the same thing. So if you have the ability to do that and you want to, man, by all means do it. Bottom line is, if you're thinking about retiring to Hot Springs Village, and frankly anywhere else, it doesn't matter where, we need to learn. We need to learn from the regrets that other people have and are experiencing. We just need to figure out a way to ask the very best questions that we can ask about ourselves and the place that we're looking at. We need to spend time in the area. We need to get a feel for the area. Certainly need to talk to locals. Hopefully, wherever you're considering other than Hot Springs Village has got a show kind of like this where there's at least some content that gives you an idea about the place. Sure, I'm going to tell you, keep watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out, because this is what we're all about, to help answer your questions, help address some of the concerns you might have. So if you've got questions, drop those in the comments. You can always reach us by email at hello@hsv.com. That email address is hello@hsvinsideout.com. And if you want help exploring the village, you want to make a trip, then by all means reach out, because we're here to help. So till next time, see you.
Thanks for watching Hot Springs Village Inside Out. You'll find all our episodes at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com or on YouTube.